The difference between an email that gets clicked and an email that gets ignored is usually the design. But here's the real danger. Your email design is a direct representation of your brand's reputation. If your emails look like a high school project, your customers and your subscribers will automatically trust you less, which means they are less likely to buy, which means, of course, you're going to lose revenue. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about email design, the anatomy of a high converting email, which platform to use, how to make GIFs, checks that you can do to make sure that the hierarchy of the elements is optimized for conversion, and also how to optimize your images so that your emails load fast, look great, and actually sell. So, e-commerce email design. The first thing on my list that I need to tell you is exposure is key. You won't be able to really distinguish and develop that sixth sense for email design if you've never been exposed to good emails. So there's this quote by Pablo Picasso: good artists copy, great artists steal. But of course, do not copy, but steal the idea by tweaking it and making it your own unique version. So I've got this swipe file where there's hundreds of amazing high converting emails. I can give this to you. Just click on the link inside of the description and this can be yours, and you can have a look through these and develop that sixth sense. So yeah, exposure is important. I can explain all of the psychology to you, but if you don't have that exposure to good emails, you won't be able to really develop that email design skill. So now let's dive into the anatomy of an e-commerce email and what makes a good email. So let's dissect it down. You have the first fold. You can also call it a hero section, and that's the first 700 pixels in height. So this is a 700 pixel rectangle, and the first fold is basically what the customer sees. So in this case, it would be this, what the customer sees before they scroll down. All right. So the text inside of the hero section is called the hero text. All right, as you can see here. And this section, the first fold, is the most important section of the email. It needs to answer the question, like, why should I read this email? And it basically needs to give away what is the email about. Because if the first fold is not enticing and it is confusing, they're not going to scroll. They're simply going to swipe and go to the next email in their inbox. So that's the first fold. Then you have, of course, the CTA. The CTA, in this case, they are small, but I highly recommend that the CTAs need to be big, and there needs to be padding around the CTAs so that they are clearly visible and easy to click on. And there should be a CTA available. Like if it's a long email, there should be a CTA available nearby. All right, so one email can have 3 CTAs. All right, so that every CTA is accessible from anywhere inside of the email. The only exception is educational emails where you're trying to build conviction. But when it comes to emails where you are reminding them about something, announcing something, those types of emails, you need to have a big visible button nearby and basically easily accessible. All right, and then you have spacing and transitions. Like I said, you don't want your emails to look crowded. For example, I've got some bad examples to show you as well. You want spacing. You want to have some white space, because it makes it easy on the eyes and it makes the email digestible. So for example, these are bad emails. Like when you look at them, you can tell they are bad emails, but ask yourself, why are they bad emails? As you can see, there is no white space. It's all crowded. There is no hierarchy. Okay. There's no clear transitions. Okay, so spacing and transitions. There's no transitions, not clear spacing. And another rule that I use is for the hierarchy, use an inverse triangle and do this. For example, as you can see here, the hierarchy points towards the CTA. So the eyes of the subscriber will follow a natural flow, or they start from the top, and then that hierarchy will lead their eyes naturally to the CTA, as you can see. Okay, so I like to use this inverse triangle rule, and this can be applied multiple times within the same email. So even here you can see, okay, there's hierarchy, even here as well. You see, this just makes it easier for subscribers to naturally find the button by following the hierarchy of the elements and the font sizes. But if you try this on these bad emails, you can clearly see there is no hierarchy. Like, you can't put the inverse triangle here because then you've got this text as well, right? So that's actually a square. Here you can say, yes, there is some more of a hierarchy, but again, the text, there's not enough spacing. The text is crowded. And yeah, same here, right? That eyes don't naturally flow through the email, right? So I hope you get this point. Okay, so here, and yeah, this is basically the criteria that I try to look for when deciding if an email needs a revision, if it needs to be tweaked, so that it's easier for subscribers to digest the email. Now, how do you actually design emails, and why do you design emails? A lot of beginners will try to design emails on Canva or Photoshop. That's not a good idea. There's a lot of reasons for this, which I can go into, but Figma is the best platform to design on because you can easily extend the frame. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons I can go into, but just believe me, I've tried Canva, I've tried Photoshop. I had to switch to Figma to properly learn email design and train my team on this. I'm going to have a Figma tutorial on how to actually get used to the platform and design emails inside of Figma. Check out the first link in the description. It's going to be inside of there, because if I had it inside of this video, it's just going to take too long. But this video is to show you what is high converting email design and how to make it as an overview. Then you have email GIFs. This can be very advantageous to communicate the message, right? So for example, if we want to communicate exclusivity, we could use a GIF like this, and it's very easy to make, right? So using GIFs allows us to communicate the message of the email faster, because the human brain gets images and graphics and frames like 10 times faster than understanding text, right? So it just communicates the message much more clearly. For example, here as well, we can create a whole vibe using GIFs. Same down here, as you can see, we're clearly communicating. If they have questions, they can type the question and reply to this email, right? And again, I am going to have tutorials on the most common GIFs, the GIFs that are the best to use to communicate the most common email types, right? By the way, you could have the best email strategy, but if you're landing in spam, it's just not going to work. I recently helped a client go from 14% to 46% open rate, fixing 3 deliverability mistakes they were making. Another brand jumped from 37%, which is an average open rate, all the way to 67%. And another client's bounce rate this time dropped from 36% all the way down to 0%. There's a free guide in the description that shows you the exact fixes. It will take you 20 minutes to implement, but it could change your email marketing forever. I have individual tutorials inside of the description. Go check them out. Next, you have countdown timers. Again, this helps you communicate the message of the email. Having a countdown timer that's actually counting down to when the discount is going to finish just adds that urgency, that real urgency. And yeah, again, it's very easy to add inside of emails. This is not a GIF. This is, you have to use a platform for this. And I teach you how to do that. Again, go check out the first link in the description. And one of the most common objections I get when I say that we use designed emails is the loading speed of emails and also the deliverability. For the deliverability aspect, I've addressed this inside of deliverability videos. But when it comes to optimizing images for load speed, it's actually a good concern. It's a valid objection, but there is a way to overcome slow loading speeds. All you have to do is on Figma, again, that's why we have to use Figma, because we have control over every pixel. All you have to do is, and by the way, I am also going to have a tutorial on how to export from Figma to Klaviyo. But in this video, it's only about email design and conversion. So yeah, let's say we are trying to import this email inside of Klaviyo. Right, let me just quickly do this. Okay, export. Now this file at the moment is 297 KB. That's pretty decent. But when slices can get big, right, and there's a lot of actual photographs and not just graphics, images can get quite big. And the way to fix this is simply going to this free website, dragging your email slice here, and it has reduced the size of that image by 69% without affecting the quality. So now this image is 69% smaller, and it's going to load much faster. And then you simply have to import this inside of Klaviyo. And yeah, that's how we can make sure the images load fast. And yeah, that was an overview of what's a good email, the anatomy of a good email, what makes them high converting, and trying to develop that sixth sense in your brain so that you can also detect that. And yeah, a quick intro to GIFs and how they can help you communicate the message, countdown timers, why to use them, and if you want to learn how to use them, link in the description, and how to optimize images for fast load. I hope that was helpful. Of course, that was not an A to Z video on how to design emails. If you want this, link in the description. And yeah, I hope that was useful.